It's been more than a decade since New Mexico really played a role in picking the presidential nominee for either party. As the coronavirus pandemic pushes back primary elections in state after state, there's a chance the June 2nd primaries here might be more important for Democrats and Republicans. Regardless, New Mexico still has to figure out how to conduct an election in the midst of a public health crisis. Is a mail-in ballot the solution? Lana, obviously, I want to toss that first question to you. Is it workable, what you've seen so far? Do we have enough runway before November? I mean, what's all the different things we need to take care of here?
Well, before November is a pretty big runway, but there are really complications. We don't have some sort of permanent voter registration list in terms of, the quality of our voter registration list is that it has a lot of bad addresses. You know, not tons and tons. It's not the majority. 90% are probably good or something like that. There's a really decent number that don't. So if you're a state that does a lot of vote by mail, that your list quality is higher than our list quality, right? So one of the problems that we would have if we wanted to do vote by mail for all of our people and just send out a ballot to everyone would be the fact that the quality of our voter list isn't as high as it would be if we were an all mail state. So that's something that we'd have to deal with.
Let me ask you a question. Is that gap so large that it would call into question the results? Is it that big of a difference?
Well, I mean, it's a substantial difference if you were sending out mailing addresses. Stuff comes back. Addresses are incomplete. There are things missing. No, I don't think it would jeopardize the election, but it would be something we'd have to deal with. But I also think we should think about other options. I mean, November is a long time away. For the June primary, certainly increasing vote by mail is important. But, perhaps also thinking about ways that stores are using to process, customers do the same thing for voters. Can we set up, opportunities for voters to stand, 6 feet of line? Maybe we even send invitations to voters and say, hey, why don't you come in and vote at this day, at this time, if you can? And, there are complications to that. But I think we need to think about outside of the box. People have real concerns in New Mexico about vote by mail and the possibility of fraud in there. So I think that we have to be careful and concerned about those concerns.
Laura, let's talk about that fraud issue. Is this going to pass muster from, you can't answer for Republicans certainly, but I'm curious what your thoughts might be. Republicans traditionally are not crazy about things that would allow things to get a little bit loose. Would this actually work in all regards, do you think?
I think it's certainly possible. And I know that Republicans have generally, I think we all have a concern about voter fraud, but there is sort of a suspicious idea that there's some additional fraud when it comes to absentee ballots. Although, when you look at who actually votes early, it often is, seniors, folks that are traditional voters. And in some cases, it skews Republican. So it actually benefits some of the Republican candidates to have people vote early by mail. I do think that Lana has hit on something important about trying to think through the logistics of the election and maybe imposing some of those tactics, some of those strategies that grocery stores have imposed about the spacing. And, if you go to the store these days, they have tape on the floor about how far you should be standing before you can get up to the teller. Things like that could work. But I think the problem is that so many of our voters vote on the day of. If we're able to use more of the early voting time period to plan some of that. Now, of course, we're at this point about 40 days away from the beginning of absentee balloting, which starts on May 5th. That's really when you can start to receive your absentee ballot. So we really don't have enough time to impose anything for the primary, short of just, day of logistics and maybe early voting. But I think we have plenty of time for November to try to think through some of those things. I do think it's important, though, to think about the absentee board and the counting that goes on there. I've spent many years as the absentee ballot presiding judge. As Lana knows, she was often one of the observers there. And, it often is people who are 60 plus and they're retired.
That's right.
And they're in very close quarters. And so you don't really you can't use those same methods this time around. We're going to have to get creative. But I know the Secretary of State's office is also working with the Department of Workforce Solutions to try to figure out a way to get folks who have been displaced by this whole quarantine, people who have been in the restaurant workers and retail workers and others, to try to maybe do some temporary absentee ballot counting.
Right.
with action.
That's a key point because we don't know who's moving around where at this point. We know about New Yorkers leaving New York, Tom, and wanting to come to different places. But absentee ballots are going to be really critical for a lot of us here. But and Tom, the interest. Laura brought up something that came to mind for me as well. Is that is the health and safety of the folks running the actual elections. I could see where Lana's coming from here. Maybe you can do it alphabetically. If your last name starts from A through F. You come in on this day, G through whenever this day, you just sort of break it up. But we've got to think of these folks and these elders who brilliantly volunteer for us every election cycle to not put them in danger. So we've got to factor that in as well, I would imagine. You're thinking the same?
Absolutely. The Secretary Toulouse really has the opportunity to really kind of shape what this election will look like. And it's up to her to really kind of set that expectation. What will voting be like? When will results be available? The sooner that she's able to go ahead and state that expectation, the better luck that they will have in surviving the criticism, because there will be criticism. But if you set that expectation early on of saying, here are what the rules are for the primary,
right,
and then you tweak it accordingly to go into the general election, then that's a win. For the secretary, and it's also a win for the process, that we'll have here in New Mexico.
Let me finish up with Lana on that very point Tom just made. Could this not be a blessing in disguise in some way, shape, or form here that actually pushes us to the next level of how we collect votes here? We've been talking about this for years, be able to use technology, Lana Atkinson. I mean, maybe this is the moment we get it right and we never go back to the old way. You never know.
It's possible. It's possible. Although I think it's important that emergency measures are emergency measures, and that how we look at them after the fact it's important to reconsider that. We don't want to make massive changes in our system during an emergency. Again, public discussion is important. Having that open process is important. And I just want to say that it is possible that basically a lot of states have moved their primaries to June 2nd, which is when our primary is. And so there's like a mini Super Tuesday now going on. And it's likely that Biden will not become the nominee until after that election. So it is, we are still, in essence, in the game. And there are lots of statewide and other Democratic offices and Republican offices that people need to vote on. So it is important.
Guys, thank you so much for participating in this manner. We always wanted to hear from your opinions, why we have you on the line. Your opinions still count, whether you're at home or here at the table. So we'll see you next time around. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. And thanks to you all for making the extra effort this week. So stay safe and stay healthy.